Let's get started with our first news. Michael "Venom" Page is preparing for one of the most significant moments of his career, as he makes the bold move up to middleweight to face Jared Cannonier this weekend at UFC 319. This is a major shift for Michael, who has spent the majority of his career competing at welterweight. The decision to step into a higher weight class wasn't made on a whim. The middleweight division is currently tied up, with Islam Makhachev moving up to challenge JDM for the title. With the opportunity presenting itself, Michael sees the chance to test himself against a bigger, stronger opponent in a heavier division. According to Michael, the change has already brought noticeable benefits. Carrying the extra weight has made him feel stronger, more powerful, and far more comfortable during fight week. In his own words, "I'm under zero stress. I feel stronger. I feel like I'm carrying more power. That helps a lot." For a fighter who has spent years cutting down to welterweight, not having to go through a brutal weight cut has lifted an enormous burden, both physically and mentally. However, Michael is also realistic about the challenges. While he's enjoying the perks of extra size, he admits that natural middleweights are used to fighting at this weight, and that means they can absorb more damage. They're accustomed to the power that comes with being bigger, and their bodies have been conditioned over years of training and competition to handle those heavy shots. Michael knows that the same punch that might leave a welterweight stunned and on shaky legs could have little effect on a middleweight. He explained that in some cases, even when he lands clean, he has to accept that the reaction will be different. "If I hit a welterweight with that shot, they'd already be wobbling. But against a middleweight, I might need to land it 3 or 4 times before I get the results I want." This means his approach to fights in the division will have to change. Precision, strategy, and shot selection will become even more important, as simply relying on single fight-ending punches might not be enough. Another factor Michael brought up is that he's still new to the division. While he has the skill to compete with anyone, he hasn't yet had the time to fully develop his body into the ideal middleweight frame. Years of fighting at welterweight have shaped his build, and adapting to carry more mass while maintaining his speed, explosiveness, and cardio will take time. He's confident that with the right adjustments he can get there. If he decides to remain at middleweight long-term, his training camps will evolve to focus on building more muscle, improving strength, and becoming fully comfortable at this size. Michael believes that once he has the complete package, skill, frame, and power, he can be a real threat in the division. For now, UFC 319 will be the first big test to see how his move-up plays out under the bright lights. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Last week, Artem Lobov made headlines for his own reasons, but moving on to our second news, Arman has made a bold statement about his future plans. He says that if he wins the lightweight title, he will wait specifically for Islam Makhachev. This is not just another call-out, this is a fight that has deep personal history for him. The two met back in 2019 when Arman was still relatively new to the UFC. In that bout, Islam won by unanimous decision. It was a competitive fight, but Arman walked away knowing that he could have done better. Since that day, the loss has been sitting in the back of his mind. For years, he has been quietly working, improving every area of his game, and waiting for the opportunity to get that fight back. Now, with the lightweight division heating up, that moment might be closer than ever. When asked directly what comes next if he beats Ilya and claims the belt, Arman didn't hesitate. He said, "I'm going to defend as much as possible. I want to be the greatest fighter in the world because I know how hard I work and how much I dedicate myself to this sport. I love it so much, I give everything to it, and it's gotta pay off." That passion is what has made Arman one of the most dangerous rising stars in the division. His fighting style is aggressive but calculated, blending elite grappling with sharp striking. He has been through tough battles, faced high-level opponents, and proven he belongs among the very best. But for him, being among the best is not enough. He wants to be the absolute number one, and in his mind that means eventually facing Islam again. He continued, "If I get the belt and beat Ilya, I'll be waiting for Islam at 55. I'll wait for him to come back down." That's a clear message. No super fights at other weight classes, no detours. Arman is willing to hold his position and keep defending the belt until Islam returns. This kind of patience is rare in today's fight game, where champions often look for the biggest paydays instead of personal challenges. For Arman, This is about legacy, redemption, and proving once and for all that he has closed the gap since 2019. Whether or not Islam comes back down soon, the seed has been planted. Fans can expect this rivalry to become one of the most anticipated matchups in MMA. Moving on to the next news, Du Plessis has made it clear that fake beef is not something he needs or wants for his upcoming fight with Khamzat. Speaking during his media day interview, Du Plessis was asked whether he planned to bring up anything personal during the press conference to try and get inside his opponent's head. His answer was straightforward but also gave insight into how he approaches the mental side of the fight game. "I don't know, we'll see," he began. "I can't practice these things. People always think I rehearse this stuff, but I can't." According to Du Plessis, trash talk isn't something that should be scripted or pre-planned. He believes that the best exchanges happen naturally, in the moment when emotions are real and reactions are genuine. He compared it to casual conversations around a fire, something spontaneous and authentic, not manufactured for the cameras. He went on to say, "That's just banter. Real banter comes in the moment. If it's predetermined, it's cringy to me. So I have to do it in the moment." This is an interesting stance, especially in today's fight world where many fighters use trash talk as a marketing tool to sell fights. Du Plessis isn't against hype, but he wants it to come from genuine competition, not a fake storyline. Up until now, he says, it doesn't look like fake beef will be necessary for this fight. And he has a point. This matchup already has a huge amount of anticipation without anyone having to manufacture drama. Two top-level fighters, both with undefeated streaks at middleweight, both known for aggressive styles, that's enough to make fans pay attention. Still, Du Plessis made it clear that if Khamzat does want to take things in that direction, he's not going to shy away. This fight is already huge. It's big enough on its own. But if that's the route he wants to go, let's do it. That statement shows he's ready for anything, whether it's a respectful build-up or a heated back and forth. For Du Plessis, the priority is the fight itself. He believes that once the cage door closes, all the talk, whether real or fake, won't matter. What will matter is performance, strategy, and who is willing to go further to win. And with his proven cardio, relentless pressure, and adaptability, he's confident he can handle whatever Khamzat brings, both inside and outside the cage. With UFC 319 fast approaching, the press conference could still produce some unexpected moments, especially if emotions start running high. But for now, Du Plessis is sticking to his belief that respect and competition can sell a fight just as well, and sometimes even better than manufactured conflict. In another story, Aaron Pico opened up about what it was like training with Khamzat in the lead-up to UFC 319. This camp has been especially significant for Pico, not only because he's preparing for his UFC debut, but also because he's been surrounded by some of the most intense and competitive athletes in the sport. And according to Pico, few fighters bring the level of energy and focus that Khamzat does. Despite being the new guy on the UFC roster, Pico has his sights set high. In fact, he believes that if he can beat Lerone Murphy in his debut, he'll already be in the conversation for a featherweight title shot. That's not a prediction born from arrogance, it's a statement built on the belief in his preparation, his skills, and the high level of competition he's been facing every day in training. Talking about his time with Khamzat, Pico said, "I really enjoy training with him because of his aura and his eye intention. I thrive off competing with guys that share my mindset, trying to be the best in the world. We were constantly competing in different exercises and pushing each other. It was an honor to train with him." That constant push was exactly what Pico was looking for ahead of his first walk to the octagon. Khamzat's training style is known for being relentless. Short breaks, high pace, and an expectation that every round is fought like it's the 5th round of a title fight. For Pico, being in that environment meant sharpening his mental toughness just as much as his physical tools. "When I found out I was fighting Lerone Murphy, I was excited," Pico explained. "I just want to get in there and make my UFC debut. I think with a great performance, I'll definitely be in the talks for a belt. But it is what it is. I have to be prepared to fight anybody in the world. Lerone Murphy is no easy welcome fight." Undefeated in his professional career and with a proven track record in the UFC, Murphy represents the type of challenge that can make or break a debut. But for Pico, that's exactly the kind of test he wanted. "The UFC is already giving me top guys, which is what I wanted. No walk in the park, but I'm mentally and physically ready for it." That mindset, seeking out the hardest possible fights, mirrors the approach of many champions before him. While most fighters in their debut are eased in with lower-ranked opponents, Pico's willingness to step directly into deep waters shows just how confident he is in his abilities. As fight night approaches, training with someone like Khamzat has given him not just technical preparation but also the belief that he belongs among the sport's elite. If he can back that up with a statement win over Lerone Murphy, his UFC journey could take off much faster than anyone expected. Back to Du Plessis, who says it will be hard for Khamzat to figure out his style when they meet at UFC 319. In fact, Du Plessis believes that it's so unpredictable even he doesn't fully understand it himself. That unpredictability, according to him, is what makes him so dangerous inside the octagon. While Du Plessis hasn't fought a huge number of middleweights yet, his resume speaks for itself. His biggest victory came against former champion Robert Whittaker, a performance that shocked a lot of fans and ultimately earned him the title shot. But as Du Plessis pointed out, that fight isn't a perfect comparison to what Khamzat will face. He made note of the size difference between himself and Whittaker, saying that while Robert is a skilled and experienced fighter, Khamzat will be dealing with a very different kind of physical presence. Now, Khamzat is stepping into a 5-round fight against a man who has already proven he can push the pace not just for one round but for all 5 if necessary. Du Plessis sees this as one of his biggest strengths, the ability to fight at maximum effort for as long as the situation demands. Trying to figure out my style is going to be hard because I adapt in the moment, he explained. I don't fight with a rigid system. I fight based on what my opponent is doing. That's the future of the sport. You can't just plan to grapple or strike, you must adapt. It's a philosophy that makes him versatile and unpredictable. In his words, I might have a whole camp for striking, but if the opportunity is there, I'll take someone down and vice versa. That kind of flexibility means opponents can't prepare for a single skill set. They have to prepare for everything, and when someone has to divide their attention like that, mistakes happen. Du Plessis also believes that certain parts of his game are underestimated. I think my power is also overlooked, he said. My physical strength and punching power are real. While many focus on his toughness and cardio, Du Plessis is confident that his raw power can be a deciding factor, especially against someone like Khamzat, who's used to dictating the physical exchanges. But beyond the physical tools, Du Plessis says there's one thing that truly separates him from everyone else: his mindset. What sets me apart from everyone else is my will to win and my refusal to give up. No man can break me mentally. I will never break, that's why I'm a champion. For Du Plessis, that unshakable mental toughness isn't just talk. It's been tested in fights where he's had to overcome adversity, fight through damage, and still find a way to win. Against Khamzat, he knows he'll need every bit of that resilience. And if his words are any indication, he's ready to push both himself and his opponent to their absolute limits. Finally, some unfortunate news for UFC 319. 2 fights have been cancelled at the last minute, shaking up the card just days before fight night. First, King Green, formerly known as Bobby Green, has officially pulled out of his scheduled bout against Diego Ferreira. The reasons for his withdrawal have not been disclosed by the UFC, but the promotion has confirmed that the matchup will be rescheduled for a later date. Ferreira, clearly disappointed, revealed in an interview with BJPenn.com that he was ahead of schedule with his weight cut and already down to 62 pounds, well within striking distance of the lightweight limit. For him, this fight was a big opportunity to make a statement, and having it fall through so close to the event is a major setback. Green, for his part, has not released any detailed statement explaining the situation. However, he did post a short but emotional message on Instagram: "No one will understand my pain, my strength, or my journey." While cryptic, the post hints at personal struggles or circumstances that may have led to the decision. Until more information comes out, fans are left to speculate, but for now, the fight is off the UFC 319 lineup. In another blow to the card, the highly anticipated Ultimate Fighter finale between Daniel Danchenko and Rodrigo Cesanando has also been scrapped. Cesanando suffered an ankle injury in the final stages of training camp, forcing him to withdraw. The UFC has confirmed that this bout will now take place on the Noche UFC card on September 13th. It's a disappointing development for fans of the Ultimate Fighter series, who were looking forward to seeing the season's conclusion play out live at UFC 3. While these cancellations certainly alter the landscape of the event, UFC 319 still has no shortage of high-stakes matchups and compelling storylines. From Michael Venom Page making his bold leap up to middleweight to take on Jared Cannonier, to Arman Tsarukiyan openly vowing to wait for Islam Makhachev in hopes of avenging their 2019 fight, the card still promises drama and elite-level competition. On top of that, Plessis has been making headlines for refusing to engage in fake beef with Khamzat, instead letting his fighting style and his adaptability inside the cage do the talking. And of course there's the debut of Pico, who has been sharpening his skills by training with Khamzat himself, pushing his limits in one of the most intense fight camps of his career. So yes, the last-minute changes sting. Yes, some fans will be disappointed to lose two matchups they were looking forward to, but UFC 319 is still stacked with talent, storylines and bad blood, both real and potential. With so many intriguing styles clashing and so much on the line for multiple divisions, Fight Night still has every chance to deliver fireworks. The build-up continues, the stakes remain sky-high, and in just a short time the talking stops, the cage door closes, and UFC 319 will be underway.